Hello, everybody.
Dr. Nick.
Here we are. I'm gonna read some announcements real quick. Welcome to a special bonus chat of VäkPäker's Guide to TTRPGs. Our sponsor for tonight is Canadian Dice. Go to canadiandice.ca and use the code TheVäkTER, all one word, at checkout for 15% off your order. Maggie's dice pick of the week is Mage Armor. Remember to wrap
Reese says
your
you're very
mage.
quiet.
What?
Reese says you're very quiet.
Why,
I don't know.
Frickin' frack. Hold on.
I don't know.
Maybe I need to turn this up. Hello?
Because you're quiet.
Can you hear me now? How is it? Is it better? Am I louder?
Nope.
Frickin' A.
Literally no different.
What if I do it like this? Did that do anything? What if
The
I...
angry eyebrows and everything. Nope.
What if I go like this? And get really close to it? Can you hear me now? Help me.
She says turn your gain up, bish.
I did. I just did.
Okay, now you're good.
Now I'm good?
Said you are.
Okay, well, it's going into the red now, so I don't know what that means.
Make out to the mic the whole time, it's fine.
Anyway, welcome.
Yeah, apparently you have to be like in your microphone and then you're fine.
Hold on. Turn my
Not a VäkTER stream without tech problems.
Why don't the settings stay the same?
Or
I didn't
turn
even
me
unplug.
down a little and that'll level it.
Okay.
Because fucking that's why.
Now what? Now how is it? You talk too.
Hello.
Good thing we haven't started yet.
Right? It's fine. Okay, she said that's better.
Okay. Good grief. All I did was move my desk. I didn't even unplug anything or turn anything off.
That's what you get for rearranging your furniture.
Well, it had to be done. Welcome to a bonus chat of VäkPäker's Guide to TTRPGs. Our sponsor for tonight is Canadian Dice. Go to canadiandice.ca and use the code TheVäkTER, all one word, at checkout for 15% off your order. Maggie's dice pick is Mage Armor. Remember to wrap your mage. Next, check out our merch store at tinyurl.com/VäkMerch. You can get excellent designs like Half-Orc Energy and the Vac Blob and whatever other designs Affy has percolating.
She's in chat enraging herself.
Are you the enemy?
I guess. I don't know.
know.
She also redeemed a posture check and a hydrate, so, you know.
If I posture check too much, I'll lose the ice pack that's in my sleeve. Because I'm holding my arm to make sure my sleeve is tight enough. Anyway. In terms of our schedule, this week, on Friday at 8:30, we have Fixie's 5. On Sunday at 5 p.m. on DM Jeremy's channel?
Nope.
Nope.
That's Agnes.
No, that's Agnes' game. I was like, this is not right. Sunday at 5 p.m. War Never Changes. Oh, it's the Fallout game. Really cool. 5 p.m. Eastern time. It's called War Never Changes. Then on Monday is Mistwalkers at 8:30 p.m. And in 14 days, that's 2 weeks from today, we will be headed to GaryCon in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. So if you're going to be there, come track us down. We'll be the nerds in the VäkPäker's merch with various forms of coffee and tea and energy drinks.
Hey, Pepsi.
Pop. Or soda if you're from somewhere that's not cool like Michigan. We'll be running late to everything probably. But hopefully not, because some of us are actually running things and it'd be really bad to be late. And as always, find our podcast wherever you download your podcasts from, including Podbean.
Could really take that out of there now. It's been on Podbean for a while.
Okay.
I just keep forgetting.
Well, I'll just delete it this time. There it is. Now we know. Hi, welcome. We're doing fun stuff.
World building.
World building. We're talking about world building tonight. Both of us have made our own kind of homebrew worlds and done a few things with them here and there. You know, just Artemis running a full campaign for a couple years and me with about 1 million one-shots and various other things. Just trying to figure it out.
All of the one-shots.
So many one-shots. Yeah. But, what do you want to start
I still
with?
can't believe that, like, it's been, like, 2 years now since you ran Man to the Woods.
It has?
Almost, yeah.
Shit.
In April. It'll be 2 years.
Shit.
Yeah.
I think I want to do the, Splurbloths one-shot in April.
Nice.
I think.
Your
Hoping.
anniversary stream.
Yeah. There you go.
The anniversary of me messaging you going, Emily, our game got canceled. You got one-shots. Let's run them.
Get ready, get set, go. Everyone, by the way, everyone in this game is a DM.
The people who responded, I didn't have much of a choice, okay?
I mean, that's true. And I don't mind running for DMs. They never get to play anyway.
Yeah, that's true. Alright, so,
You're
world
welcome,
building.
DMs of the world. Hit me up if you want to play in a game.
Oh yeah. We've run so many one-shots,
yeah.
like,
Well,
I'm
yeah,
here for
because
it.
we have like a whole month for it. And then a whole other month where we do some of them too. And they're only like a month apart.
And Pride is coming up, so like, you know,
Yeah.
it's fine.
And we usually
I have to
do a
get
little
through
bit-
GaryCon, and then I can start worrying about Pride.
Yeah.
Like, that's the plan.
If you're always busy, you never have to think about how messed up the world is.
Yep. So true.
Anyway, world building.
So were we gonna talk about cities tonight,
Yeah,
or
sure.
like were we just gonna talk about our
We could
worlds?
talk about
Because
cities.
I know we didn't really have too much of a plan.
No. We can talk about cities.
This was just it's been a week and it's only Wednesday.
I'll tell you my method for creating cities is fly by the seat of your pants.
Yeah.
Kind of. But yeah. You have more of a... I'm going to switch us to this handout screen and hopefully it doesn't change
Mine is
the sound.
super crazy the way that I do mine.
So this is an example of one of Artemis's cities.
Yeah.
And you're building this for your next campaign after Fixius 5 is over.
Mm-hmm. Set in the same universe, 20-something years later, on a different continent.
What is the name of the city again?
Yamani.
Okay. And
I can't wait to hear what Affy comes up with for that. Because she's so good at coming up with alternative names for things.
I mean, I have thoughts, but I don't think it's a bad name. I have thoughts on alternative names that could be invented.
Asparagus. Asparagus, it's a map I made for a city.
Yeah. So
we're just talking about cities right now.
Is the entrance at the bottom? There's water.
Yeah, so there's a big harbor down at the bottom.
Okay. Which I don't think they can see on the screen, but because it's clipped off.
No, they can't. And then there's like major roads in.
Okay.
And the city was designed for control. The second campaign is basically going to take place in one city, but like the players will go out into the different parts of the continent for quests and things.
Okay.
And this city was sort of built with the movement of troops in mind and the closing off of certain wards of the city.
So are they all closable?
Yes, all the gates are closable and certain parts of the city can be blocked off if need be.
Okay. Is this maybe too old of a version of this map? I don't remember if there was a... Am I missing something on here? Oh, okay. This should be it.
Should be the newest version.
Okay, good.
I think I sent it to you after I was done with it, yeah.
Okay. So
the only thing that needs to be changed on there is that I hadn't come up with a name for the academy yet because I couldn't think of one, so it just says academy on it right now.
Hey, that's okay. You got time.
Yeah.
So you said the different wards can be closed off?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's supposed to be sort of like, if you've ever seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, it's kind of like Ba Sing Se, but it's not built in rings. It's built in wards instead.
Okay. Gotcha. Ba Sing Se. Please don't tell me the lake is named Lake Lao Gai.
No.
Okay, good.
No.
So...
It's just, like... It's meant for control.
Okay.
Is the whole purpose of the second campaign is supposed to be kind of like fighting against the man or fighting for the man, depending on what side you choose.
So what are the different wards? Like I see the Azure Ward, Gatestone, the Cleft Stone. What are all of these? Yeah,
so let me pull up my notes here. So the Citadel is like the upper. It's the upper part of the city. It was built on like a low hill, and that's where the castle is, or the keep, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The academy is up there, and the whole thing was built to sort of look down on the other districts. The upper echelon is supposed to live there.
Okay. The rich kids.
Yeah, all the rich kids live there. Dawn's Reach is the temple district, which is like right below that. The Mire is the slums of the city, and it was put there specifically so that the people in the upper part of the city can look down on the people at the lower part of the city.
Jeez.
Yes, I know.
And I'm assuming the Shield War is where the military is, and it's also conveniently placed right next to the poor people.
Yes, exactly. Because this country, the admin who run this country, not necessarily nice people.
Admin. That's what they are.
I haven't decided exactly what it is that's going to be. If it's going to be like a king and queen, or if it's going to be a council, or if it's going to be like a governor or something. I haven't decided that part yet.
Gotcha.
Yeah. The Cleftstone is an upper class district.
Okay.
Lots of upper class houses and stuff like that. The plan is that eventually, after the players sort of make names for themselves in the city, that they have the option to move into the Clefstone if they want to.
Oh, interesting.
They could get like real estate there. The Gatestone is the craft award. All of the craftsmen and things like that are there. Merchants. Some merchants are there.
Okay.
But it's mostly craftspeople. It's mostly like smithies and tradesmen and things like that. The Azure Ward is the main merchant district. That's where the first part of the campaign is going to take place. The players are going to be sort of working for a merchant house. And the plan is, at this point, assuming that I can figure out how to do it, is that I want to implement reputation points in the second campaign.
Yeah.
Where as players complete these quests that like take them out of the city and then they come back with like supplies or items or other things like that, they will meet people who become contacts or have the potential to become future allies or the potential to become future enemies, depending on how the interaction with them goes. And they'll earn reputation points based on those.
Okay.
And those the reputation points will give them bonuses to certain roles.
Yeah. Nice.
They did something like that in A Court of Fey and Flowers, and that's kind of where I got the idea.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I like that mechanic in that game.
Yeah.
It's kind of a cool way of dealing with...
Yeah.
Like when your role-playing game is not a lot of combat.
Which mine is not.
Yeah.
We've been at this for 2 years, and I think I can count the number of times that you guys have been in combat and probably still have fingers left over. Like,
I don't know. I mean,
I don't do combat a lot. I mean, probably not so much anymore because you guys have been in a lot of combat lately.
Yeah.
But
because we're getting down into a lot of nitty gritty stuff now. Okay.
Yeah, you guys are getting down to the end of it now. But yeah. And then the yards is the docks. It's the shipping district.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Should be fun.
Maybe that's what I thought there was a
fun.
label on that. Cool.
I love world building. It's one of my favorite things to do. Like,
yeah,
definitely one of my favorite things to do.
Me too.
And I'm super sort of like, I'm very my notes, if you've ever seen them, are very like they're color coded, and yeah, it's kind of crazy.
I could show this. Well, I think I showed this before though, didn't I? Maybe not.
Showed what?
Hang on, let me switch. So, I've been working on an idea for a campaign. This is where it would happen.
Oh yes, your map.
But I'm not sure. I know like what town it would start in. But that's about it. I've been kind of trying to figure out some things about this area. And it's just difficult to do. Actually, let me even just...
That's how Fixius started, though. Like, I built up Wild Call, where you guys started. Like, the area that Karani's actually from. That little town. I actually built that little town first and then built everything around it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because it was easier to sort of start that way. But now that I've sort of done this before,
Yeah. That's how I built this
world.
Yeah. Is I started with like an idea for a one-shot for my dad, and then spiraled from there.
The DM spiral.
You know? But now the problem that I'm finding is that I've built enough of the world that everything is interesting to me, but I don't necessarily have stories everywhere, and so I'm trying to figure out what the stories are. It's difficult. It's not easy. But,
and especially if you don't know who your players are going to be, it can be hard to develop stuff without them because you want to tie their stories in. So, like,
right.
Like in Fixius, I built a Virus around Maggie's character and around the things that they had told me about their character.
Yeah. You know what? And
like, a Virus was on the map, but it wasn't, like, developed.
Yeah, I have some of that, too. Like, I'm going to switch back to just... because I need to, like, look at some weird documents that are not going to be helpful for other people to see. It's just a bunch of text. But, I have a bunch of, I have a folder of, like, character stuff.
Like NPCs or...
No, I mean, I do have, like, an NPCs thing. Like, I have an NPC spreadsheet. But there's not a lot on it yet, except for, like, people I did for Bankar Brouhaha. And there's a couple for... There were a couple for, like, the one shot that I did where we went to, Alyssa's character's home, kind of, at the, in that kind of monastery. And I have some other people, but, like, I have documents somewhere. I just have to find it. That's like... Oh, here, maybe. Yeah, character info sheets. So, I asked everybody a lot of questions. And then, like... I mean... the players got to decide kind of where they were from. And so, like, for instance, Maggie, for their character Wisteria, made up a town that was not on the map, which is totally fine, because I only put, like, big cities on the maps, or significant spots on the maps. And so it was like, okay, there's this new town. What's it like? What kind of people are there? What? And then, like, Maggie told me, like, what happened there, stuff like that. So, which I don't want to give away any, like, character backstory or whatever. But, like, I have sections where I have, like, a map, and then I'll say, okay, Wisteria's from this village on this continent. This is what the geography looks like. And then there are other locations that the character would be familiar with. Any important information about their religion or their history from wherever they're from. And then I have a section of important figures where I made basically NPCs for everybody's backstory. So, like, even if they didn't come into the story, they're still... those NPCs are still in this world somewhere. So.
Okay.
And I did that for everybody when we were getting ready to play.
Yeah, for me, the way that I develop my cities is I use a PDF that is from Nord Games called Spectacular Settlements.
Yeah.
And
Very
it
good book,
basically
by the
is
way.
a bunch of, yeah, it's amazing. I love it. I use it so much. And it basically is a bunch of like, it gives you charts that you can roll on, but it also gives you like ideas for different districts or different locations that you would find inside of your cities, and it breaks it down from trade posts, which are like the smallest version of a city that you have, all the way up to a fortress.
Yeah.
And it gives you all the different options for that, and it's pretty cool. And like, because so Yamani is a capital city, so there's a lot involved in that, and it breaks it down by sections, and it helps you figure out like type of government, who's running it, who are the what are they called, the noble households, that
Yeah.
sort of thing. It gives you what their relationship with the government is, like if it's friendly or if it's, friendly but not, it gives you ideas for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's really helpful, especially when you're doing homebrew stuff like this.
Yeah.
I would be curious to see for those of you who don't know, Affy's running Domains of Dread, and it's all sort of based on Van Richten's, like loosely based on Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft.
Yeah.
I think is the name of the book.
Yep.
And like also Curse of Strahd is in there obviously a little bit too. And so like I'd be curious to see how she preps cities and stuff, because some of those like exist in world already. Like Barovia, obviously.
Right.
Like that has
several
bunch of stuff
cities,
in it, but
yeah,
it's also very homebrewed.
right.
So
And there's
I'd be
even
curious to see how that goes.
It is interesting because like even with modules and things like that, or like pre-made materials, existing histories from the game or from various worlds that have been in D&D or any other game, there are things that you have available to you that you can then build on. So you don't have to, like, y'all do it in Mistwalkers all the time too, where it's like there's soybeans everywhere.
I don't know where that came from. I can't remember where the thing about soybeans came from.
Well, even with like, so when we started playing Candela, the book wasn't even out yet. So we didn't have all this information about like this world. So some of it just got made up. Like we didn't know where the different districts were. So we were just like, I don't know, you go here, you go there, whatever.
We were all like squinting at this tiny map. We were like, what does that say on it? I don't know. I can't read it.
Yeah. But but like that's how it's, don't we have like a churro cart?
Yes.
And like,
yes, we do.
You gotta build it the way it feels right for the game that you're running, you know?
Yeah,
like,
it makes it more alive.
Yeah, and even like, so the only city that I've really homebrewed fully is Rest, which is in Nellis. And part of I built it partially because I knew they were going to need to go there at some point. But also, it just so happened that, like, Chestnut was from there. So I had to build out some different aspects of it. And what I ended up... Gosh, why don't I have a voice all of a sudden? Sorry.
You're good.
I kind of... It's a coastal city, but there's not... The geography in my world is weird because, of course, it is. And so, like, there's not, like, a calm, protected port for people to sail into. There's a port there, but, like, all of the ships have to be, like, magically propelled because the ocean is, like, all violent storms and the waves only go one direction. And so you're either gonna, if you don't have, like, magical guidance systems on your boat, you'll basically crash. So, like, there's that. Yeah. There's, like, the port area has to be built a certain way so that ships can come into it safely without, like, everybody dying. There's also, like, I made, like, a college there that is built kind of off of Oxford as kind of a basis, because I got a chance to go there when I was in college to kind of see what it was all about. And basically the whole city of Oxford is built around this college and university, and the university is made up of several colleges. So, like, the whole city is the university. There's not any part that's not. There's several libraries. There's several chapels. Like, every college has their own chapel. They all teach different things. So I thought that was interesting. And so I basically made, like, Medeus University, which is made up of 3 colleges, which are, if I can remember correctly, there is the College of the Magica Exitat, which is one of them, the College of the Magica Dominus, and the College of the Magica Utilis. So, like, one is, one college is for, like, bards and warlocks, one is for wizards, and one is for artificers. Like, Utilis, utility, that's the artificers. Dominus, it's like these people, wizards, they're trying to gain control over something that is uncontrollable. And
that won't end badly, I'm sure.
Yeah. And Exitat it's like the Bard College, basically, but it's like the glory of magic is basically what it means. So it's like the real charismatic folks, bards and sorcerers and warlocks. Yeah. And then this whole town is kind of built around being a college town. So there's some seedy parts, but there's a lot of music places because there's a lot of bards here, like performance places, There's a lot of artificers here because they have this entire college dedicated to artificers. Yeah, stuff like that. It's just...
It'd be a perfect place to run something that is based off of Strixhaven in.
Yeah, it would be fun.
Because
it would be fun.
Like, I keep meaning to do something like that, where, like, the players have the opportunity to go to, like, a college thing and play through something like that. Because, like, I got Strixhaven for Christmas, like, 3 years ago. I think I looked at that book once. Because, like, we've been so busy since then, like, with Fixius and just literally everything else.
Just everything.
That's been going on that I haven't had a chance to, but I think that would be cool to, like, have a chance in a city or something like that where you get to play in a college setting like that, magic schools and things like that. Like, it would be fun.
Do you ever think about, so, like, in your cities, do you have like temples to all gods, or are there ways that you decide like what cities have dedicated temples, what cities, or like what gods a city doesn't acknowledge, stuff like that?
Yeah, so it sort of depends on what the city's specialty is. Like capitals, they have temples to pretty much all of them.
Yeah.
Like as a general rule, because it would make sense that they would have these bigger temples in them, bigger sort of like almost cathedral like things that would be dedicated to more than one god, to all of the gods, to so in my realm, the gods are broken up into the Council of Deities, which is like the good gods, and then there is the duplicitous gods, which is the more negative connotated gods.
Yeah.
And those, for the most part, they do not mix, but in the capitals, you're more likely to find a mixture of them because there would be a sort of, not necessarily a need, but a desire for that in places where there are a lot of people. Because obviously, like a rogue, maybe they would worship a god if they choose to that is more negatively seen. So it would make sense that there would be shrines or temples or things like that to those kinds of gods in a capital where there is likely to be more crime. But then there are smaller towns, like I've got in Wild Call, the only god that they really worship there is the Wild Mother because it's very nature based.
Yeah, unless you're
so they
weird
would
and then...
worship her. Yeah.
Unless you're
And because she's very like hunter and harvest and that sort of thing. She's very much in charge of that, and depending on what school of thought you follow, she's like also fertility based. And so it sort of depends on like, you know, what the town is, like what their main export would be if they had one, that sort of thing. Or like the city that you guys just went to, it's a coastal town, so that is more sea deities like Deep Shalis, and I think there's a temple to Ilmater in that city too. And then there, on the other side of it, on the land side of it, there is a shrine to Melora, or the Wild Mother, for the local farmers.
Nice.
Yeah. So.
What about Granny? Sorry. Someone's saying something. I feel like I've missed a lot of what Chad has said because I haven't been able to look at it. Because the screen...
I don't know. What about Granny?
I don't know.
Happy if you're still in chat, weigh in on this. How do you decide where you're putting your gods?
I will say in Rest, so, let's see. I should pull up my deities, thing. Hold on. In Rest, because it's a coastal city, there's, Zenis, who is the god of justice and storms. And, like, because there's a lot of, like, waves and stuff, that is a common thing. There's also Quinis, who's the deity of nature, who basically, like, blessed the land and made this, like, one of the wealthiest nations in all of Bankar. And then there is Bruxitana, who's technically an evil god, but she's the god of ambition and greed, and also like commerce. And so it makes sense that in a very wealthy city they would worship her in whatever way that manifests itself. Oh, the religion of Wild Call. I mean, Karini does not worship the Wild Mother. Let's just
No.
say.
You're the one weirdo in your village.
Unless you're weird. Yeah, exactly.
You're the outlier in your village, but you know, it's fine.
Yeah, yeah. Oh well.
Oh, it's mostly the Wild Mother. Yeah. So yeah, like Karini, she's weird. It's fine.
Can't help it when you get a calling.
Exactly. It's fine. You know?
Yeah.
And then you've got people like who get shoved through trees.
Yeah.
By a archfey. It's fine.
And some people worship that archfey. Just not those of us who actually know who they are.
You're like, no, I know them personally. No, thank you.
No, thank you. They're my friend.
They're a little crazy.
She might be weird, but she's our kind of weird. Thanks. I mean, that's true for most of the characters I make, in addition to the worlds that I make, so you know.
Duality.
Being weird is how I roll.
You know, like you do.
I'm trying to
DMs
think of what
make
else.
the worst players.
I vaguely recall, like, Lucy had something that was like a punk club in the city that I ended up making.
Knowing Alyssa, that doesn't surprise me.
I'm trying to remember. Hang on. There's a name for it and everything. It's called,
I love that so much.
It's called The Lost Dungeon. It's a goth club.
Oh, there you go.
And the owner's name is Friendtastic.
Yeah, that tracks. Hi, Pasta. What are you doing?
You know, you gotta make it weird sometimes. Yeah. The bag from Cottonwood. Look. Karini would have noticed, just because Emily doesn't, because she doesn't use Fantasy Grounds for anything else. It's not my fault. That's all I'm saying.
It took 6 months of that bag being in there. And I had specific instructions that I was supposed to put it in your inventory and leave it there until you realized that it was there. And then you just didn't.
Karini's passive perception is 20. She would have noticed. Okay? She would have noticed. My passive perception is not 20. And my passive investigation is even less than that. And that's what I feel like I would have needed. Anyway. Oh, gosh.
Geese. Cedar's here now.
Hi.
Yeah, so I think for campaign 2, I think that religion is gonna play a lot less of a thing. Unless one of the player characters makes it that way.
Yeah.
But I think because this first campaign, the gods are very heavily involved. Mm-hmm. And that can, I've noticed at least that when you have deities who are directly involved with characters, there can be a power imbalance problem with certain things. So for the second campaign, I think I want to steer away from that a little bit.
Yeah.
And have it be more of a characters are earning things based on things that their characters are doing here, in the material plane. Yeah. Not things you guys are literally saving the world from Tharizdun.
Yeah.
And his minions. I want to steer away from that a little bit. At least at first, I want to steer away from that, and then maybe later on it will get a little bit more involved towards later levels, but for the most part, I want to stay away from that in the second one.
Yeah. Karani can see her own inventory, okay? Emily can't see the inventory because you can't look at Fantasy Grounds when you're not in the game. And when we're in the game, we're doing other things. Like, the only thing that I check in my free time is D&D Beyond because it's just out there on the internet. I mess around with that all the time. I read my spells on there all the time. That's what it's for.
I would let you in there at any point.
Yeah, but I would have to be here at home on the computer that has Fantasy Grounds. Whereas technically I could get onto D&D Beyond at work, and I'm not saying I've ever done that. But I do.
It's okay. I'm the same way though. Like I don't. My inventory on Fantasy Grounds, like I don't. So Keli has a lot of stuff in their inventory that I got from when Alaric left.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time to organize all that crap. And even now, I still don't really look at it that closely. So there could be stuff that Affy's been adding in there and I wouldn't even know.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's a thing.
Cedar, I don't check my inventory in-game hardly ever unless there's an item I specifically need to use. I also, if someone had put something secretly into my inventory on D&D Beyond, which, by the way, several people have the link to my character sheet, then maybe I would have seen it.
I don't actually know how to make items on D&D Beyond.
Oh, it's really easy.
So
it's actually even easier than
I will have to learn someday.
And when in doubt, you can always just type a bunch of text in there and call it a day. Know what I mean?
That's true. That's true. I also think I'm going to stick away from Relics of Divinity in the second campaign.
Yeah.
Like, I really like the idea of items that grow with your characters.
Yeah.
So I might come up with something a little bit differently. Like, maybe you guys have things that are on your person that you start with that maybe grow with you. Because I like that idea of things that grow with your characters. But the relics are like, you know, they're meant for world-ending chaos like you guys are getting into right now. So
your game is in Fantasy Grounds. I can't get in Fantasy Grounds 24/7, Cedar. So if I'm bored, I can't just go in there and look at my freaking inventory. Calm down. Also, I don't like Fantasy Grounds that much.
I learned on Fantasy Grounds, so like I struggle with other programs.
Yeah, I think like, it's like, because you learned on Fantasy Grounds. I learned on Roll20, and then D&D Beyond kind of at the same time. So, like, I find it much easier to find things in D&D Beyond, and I have a really hard time sorting my spells in Fantasy Grounds, because you have to, like, scroll for a million years to find something. At least, like, now that we're higher level. It's just, your spell list is real long, and it's hard to find something, whereas I can, like, sort it like a spreadsheet, basically, in D&D Beyond. You can, like, sort it down to just your first level spells or something, and real easy to find then. So, and I'm just used to it. Like, I'm just used to the layout of it.
Yeah, I know duality, but also I'm a DM. I can make shit up if I want. Like, if I want an item to grow with a character,
says who
I'll make an item that's gonna grow.
Says who that dragon magic items are the only things that absorb power. Like, if you are holding something and you are a magical being and you're constantly casting magic through it, would it not then absorb some of
magical
that?
Properties.
Like, if you...
It's like Reggie living in Ram's chest.
If enough
like, there was consequences to a rat living so close to something that's constantly doing, like, bursting with chaotic energy. Like,
If you rub the
Of course there's
nose on a
cosplay.
metal statue enough times, it gets shiny. Like, if it rains enough on a piece of stone, it wears down. This is all perfectly within reasonable expectations for something magical being in contact with anything, even mundane items, constantly. So potentially, if you are using magic all the time, anything that you are wearing or holding could become magical, could grow in power all the time.
Yeah.
Just like you do.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I love that we're arguing about this. Like,
as a DM, I do what I want. Hell, as a player, I do what I want. Yeah, we know.
uh-huh. As a person who plays with you every week, I know.
Athelstan gonna do what Athelstan gonna do.
Yep. Fuck around and find out. Yep, exactly.
Then you can't be surprised when you lose a hand.
Exactly. Honestly, none of you have lost body parts in Fixius yet. Like,
I've lost body parts in other stuff, though. Like,
Yeah.
I fully lost an arm in Jeremy's one shot.
okay, but Jeremy tries to kill you on purpose.
Freaking sphere of annihilation. I mean, I did it to myself too, okay? I was just stupid.
It would be weird for him to be surprised that he cut off his own hand, Cedar.
It would be.
It would be very weird.
It's a fair point. Anyway, world building. I don't know.
Technically, this is world building, but
because we talked about this a little bit before, that like, or at least I think we have. I don't remember if it was on here or if it was just when we're chatting. But like,
we talk a lot.
We talk a lot. But like, for a long time, I had a really hard time with world building until I had players telling me characters that were going to live in the world. Because then, like, otherwise it's just like a meaningless map. And you don't really have any...
It's a place that lives in your brain until you can share it with somebody.
Yeah, it's just like a blank... It doesn't feel like a real place until you put people in it, until you put characters in there. Because then when they start affecting it in ways that you don't expect, then it starts to feel more authentic. More complicated.
Yeah, for sure. Like, that was how I felt. So, like, when we started Fixius way back when, like, I feel like the world really sort of became solid for me. Like, even though I have run Fixius before, this campaign is completely different than the last time that I ran this. Like, the bare bones are still there, yes, but it is so different. The world is so much more fleshed out with you guys playing, because you guys are very involved with your characters. Last time I ran it, it was for almost all, I think, well, no, it was all males, and it was all AMAB people, and they didn't role play the way that you guys do. So it was very like, okay, what do we have to do next? What do we have to do next? What do we have to do next? That campaign was over in 9 months.
Yeah.
Like, it was super fast, and now, I mean, we're on year 2 now of this.
Yeah.
And you guys probably won't be done until September.
Yeah.
So,
which is cool. Can't believe it's going to go that fast. It doesn't feel like it, but
yeah. It will, though, once you, like, now that you guys are sort of, like, doing stuff, it will start going faster.
I have a question for you, because you said we're going to have a pretty significant time skip.
Yeah, you're going to have 5 years between this arc and the next one.
Yeah. do you anticipate there being like level ups within that time period? Or just one? Or
It'll probably just be one while you guys go home or wherever it is that you guys go.
Yeah.
And figure out like what it is that your characters are doing at that point, and what you're doing with those 5 years of downtime, because that's a really significant amount of time.
A significant amount
like
of time.
You guys could be doing all kinds of things. I have a feeling I know, assuming that you all survive the fight with Rirka, I kind of have an idea of where most of you are going to go and what you're going to do. So it'll be interesting to see if I'm correct.
I have it pretty set in my mind what Karini would be up
where
to.
Where Karini's going to be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, she's got to go home and be the leader of her village, so...
That's pretty much it. It's like, not really a lot of options.
I gotta go home and be responsible.
Crap. Cedar did have a question. I have to find it.
Keep Aster from stealing all of the dandelions out of your city.
Yeah. That 5e Warhammer sounds really cool and kind of terrifying, by the way. Because they were talking about that in there as well, Kane and Cedar. But, as a world builder...
Is the thing about world eating?
Yeah, how do you view world eating circumstances? It could be really interesting. It definitely puts high stakes in there. Because you either... you need a group to figure it out.
Fail.
Yeah. Well, that's just, like... You do need to think about what happens if you fail. Like, is this something that a group could tackle? If it's not something that they could overcome, where do they go to try and find a way to reverse it? Or if they fail, where do they go? Because eventually, like, Cedar's world, I like what happened where it was like, okay, you either go, what is it, north? To, like, these... the ice, where it's, like, the only place where things haven't been taken over. Or you go to space. Like, get the heck out of there. And it's then going to change the entire focus of your campaign. Or it might change, like... So maybe it's just your next campaign that looks different. It depends on when it happens, I guess.
Yeah, so for me, I thought about what would happen if you failed to stop Rirka. Like, if you wipe when you're fighting Rirka. And then what would happen if you wipe fighting everything that comes after that. So, like, if you were to fail to stop Rirka from doing the things that she's gonna do, it would basically just put you guys... So, like, that would end the campaign.
Yeah.
That would end the campaign there. And then it would, assuming that people wanted to do a second one, it would pick up with basically a brand new Cataclysm War.
Oh.
Or, that's the wrong word.
Calamity War?
No? Calamity. Yeah, Calamity. I'm like, wait, that's the right word.
Or, I mean, there are a number of words.
Cataclysm, I guess, technically would work. But, like, yeah. But, yeah, so, like, it would basically pick up with a brand new war of, okay, the gate is down. The gods are here. Now what do you do?
And it would be all of them. Right? Like...
Look, I didn't know that we would distribute world eating power across the entire planet either, okay? To be fair. We're just a bunch of idiots. It's fine.
What kind of chain restaurant? McDonald's.
Waffle House. It's basically a Waffle House. But, yeah, no, so
Could be Exandria.
I like
duality,
the
I don't know.
idea. I like the idea of like, okay, you guys failed. Now what? Now what do we do? How do you fix this? Do you fix this?
Yeah.
Do you let the enemy win? What do? Do you fight back? Like, do you know, like there's a lot of different things that could happen where like, do you make new characters and try to correct the problem? Because there are things that could do it. So like, if you were to fail against Rirka and then play like a second campaign where you're basically undoing what you did, there are certain really powerful magics out there that could, in theory, undo what you did. So like a wish spell. Yeah. If worded correctly,
you gotta get
could
to
undo the damage. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You have to be able to do a wish spell. Yeah. And that's nothing to sneeze at. Like, that's the most powerful spell ever. So. Yeah.
To the point where you can take it as a character and still only get limited uses of it. Mm-hmm.
And Affy's got this really interesting thing with her world where there used to be level 10 spells.
Oh, yeah.
But because magic sort of was lessened by the gods in certain ways, like that's where those stones keep coming into play. And yeah, so it's interesting to me to see how that's going to play out. And now that those are in play in Mistwalkers and in Fixius,
my lighting
that'll be fun.
No, well,
your lighting is being angry at you.
Seriously.
He's okay.
Maybe if I have less.
It probably won't be going too much longer.
Well, that's sort of okay. Anyway.
Always use tarnished berries. Yes, lots of tarnished berries. The Forgotten Realms Lords about the birth of Mystra. Oh boy. It's been a while since I read anything about Mystra. I don't remember.
I know there's a death of Mystra. My ex-killer warlock got married to a bartender daddy. What?
They appear over. Yeah. Okay, so Mystra. We're gonna pull up the official Mystra lore here because now I'm curious and I need to know. Okay, so she's a greater goddess in Faerun. Second incarnation of the goddess of magic after her predecessor. Okay. She was destroyed by Helm when she defied the will of... Ow? Sure? I'm not sure. Whatever. The Overgod and attempted to leave the prime material plane during the time of troubles. Okay. Oh, so it was like during the Gods' War. For the position of goddess of magic to the wizard Midnight, who reluctantly accepted and took Mistra's name in order to smooth the transition after so much chaos. That's fun. So it's like they're another ascended person. The way that the Raven Queen is an ascended person.
Yeah. Interesting.
That's cool.
No, I don't. I don't have to bartend tonight. I don't bartend ever. I've never have.
Wait, why are you? Who's bartending?
I don't know. I think maybe something I said came across wrong. Not me. I've never worked in a restaurant or a bar. Which I guess could be tragic if depending on how you think about it.
I used to bartend when I graduated high school. I was a bartender.
They let you bartend at that age?
Yeah. You just have to be old. You just have to be an adult. You don't have to actually, like, at least in my state, you don't have to be old enough to drink to bartend. You just can't participate while you're there.
Wisconsin.
Yeah. It's full of drunk people. What do you expect?
What are you gonna do? Yeah. Gosh. We could talk about world building stuff all day. Like, I'm trying to think of other cities I have too, because, I mean, technically, I have a lot of them, but I don't know.
I think it's cool to see like how your world is developing versus how like mine that's already been going for a while is. Because a lot of my world, at least the one continent for sure, has really been built out while you guys have been running around on it, messing things up. And
yeah. I'm trying to think, like,
getting into things.
I haven't really had anything else where people have gotten into the cities that much. I guess technically the GaryCon one-shot started in a city, but then you immediately went to another plane, so...
Cedar, what do you mean, what about the littler things? Things that you headcanon about your world, but may never find a way to share it in gameplay?
Oh, I have so much of that stuff.
What does headcanon actually mean? Because I don't really know.
Well, I mean, if you write the world, I guess it is... your headcanon is canon. But...
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I have lots of little things that exist in my head. Sometimes I don't find exactly the right way to, like, convey what it is. Or, like, I don't know. There are some things about, like, Benkar, for instance, that, you know, we did Benkar Brouhaha, and the tone of that game is a lot different than what I thought it would be. And so, like, it's just... I don't know. Some of the things have changed about it. But in my head, it's still kind of a serious place, I guess.
Versus
no, it was like that
looking for the Holy Grail world that you got.
No, it was like that before you came in, Cedar, because, like, I don't know. I mean, I don't want this to sound in any way disparaging toward my amazing players in Benkar Brouhaha, because I love playing with all of them very much. I had come in with this idea that I was going to make this very, like, serious kind of EXU Calamity style game where everything was going to be, like, really exceptionally...
You are literally
like,
going to die.
Where it's literally... well, I mean, I guess that's not exactly it, but, like, everything was going to be described as this, like, epic fantasy world or whatever. And it got a little sillier than I expected. I don't have any complaints about it. It's just different than I thought. And so, like...
I feel like that's the case for everybody's D&D game, though. Like,
yeah, well, you have some silliness that happens
goes through that.
anyways, because you're having fun. You're playing a game. It, like, some of that's going to happen. But I guess, you know, you have this, like, picture in your mind of, like, all these amazing moments. And then you know, sign a bunch of people up, and their ideas about your world are different. And the things that they want to focus on are different.
I think, like,
it was just one prophecy, Cedar. Come on.
I had one thing that you guys have not come across yet, because there hasn't been, like, a spot for it really where it would make sense. But, like, for me, it's the long night celebration that I came up with.
Yeah.
It's based on sort of a real world celebration, but it's the longest night of the year, and the tradition is that they in the city that they're in, all of the lights in the city are doused at the stroke of midnight. So there's no light anywhere. And then the like whatever household or whatever, you would jump over the embers so that you have good luck and bountiful harvests or babies or any number of other things in the coming year. And then at like when the hour turns over, you light the fires again and you tend them throughout the next year.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
But there hasn't been a spot for that to come up yet. So it did in the Honey Heist one shot.
Yeah.
Because that you guys played on Long Night, but
yeah. Well, okay. And I guess like I will say some people's backstories are super serious and super dark.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mind that. And actually, even some of the people who are sillier, quote unquote sillier, aka the throat goat.
Okay, but Maggie's really good at like tragic backstories.
Yes.
Like, Maggie's very good at tragic backstories.
Wisteria's backstory, not gonna give any spoilers, but dag yo. If we ever get into that, woof. It's gonna be rough. Yeah. But like Lucretia's backstory, also super tragic. Alaxon's backstory, also super tragic. Vic's backstory, also super tragic. Like everybody's I think maybe only Chestnuts is not. But then she's like thrown in with this group of like super broken people. Like, I guess I'm just the bard, one of the bards here, and I'm trying to make everybody feel good. Oh yeah, Atlas, that for sure.
I'm
Cloud
so
and Blue
afraid
had an awesome
to
upgrade.
find
I
out.
mean, they did.
I'm so afraid to find out Atlas's backstory because I know it's gonna hurt.
Oh
like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
I know it's gonna hurt. I know Maggie. I know it's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
And it's just like, Sparkle Pony.
I guess, like, because of what I got with the backstories too, I did not also imagine that I would be making a magic item that had to do with how much someone likes to eat oysters. You know what I mean?
I remember when you told me about that, I was like, I think I sat there for a full, like, minute just rereading what you had sent me in a text message, because I was like,
also,
that is a sentence. Those are words, but they do not make sense.
Also, I'm so proud of that freaking magic item. It's cool. It's cool.
It is cool. It is cool. But I couldn't. I could not wrap my head around it for like a solid minute of like what is happening right now.
You know how it came up though is I think Maggie sent me a message that was like, I think I really, like, once we're in the city, I think I really want my character to find the best oyster bar. I was like,
okay.
Oh no. What do I do with that?
That's hilarious.
And it turns out there's like a whole illicit oyster trade in the city. I've never had an oyster.
That's like one of the best things about having players playing in your world, though, is like you never know what it is that they're gonna like.
Oh yeah,
gravitate to. You know, like what NPC. Like for you guys, it's Bilphus. Like Bilphus was just supposed to be this little gnome who like lives in this backwater town.
Yeah.
And now he's in the capital city helping run the resistance. So like.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, I let you use bugbear stacks for a monk. There's no playable bullywug. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And if there's anything
you could have used grung, technically, but
that's technically what Splouth is a grung. That's what I used for his stats. But like, no, where I got that from, Cedar, is their Dimension 20. If there's anything that I've learned from them, it is the art of reskinning. You can reskin any freaking thing you want. You can if you can rationalize the stats, go for it. If you need to rename something, that's okay. You can you can reskin a spell. You can reskin a race. They did a whole series called Never After that's like fairy tale horror, and there was a guy that was the Frog Prince. Murph played the Frog Prince, and he was a bullywug, or he was a bugbear, if I recall, technically, or a hobgoblin.
Okay, nice.
So like,
and I mean, like, we've reskinned spells in Fixius too. Aster's Whirlpool, we reskinned it as leaves instead of water.
Okay, asparagus. I'm not. Word choice. I get it. I just mean like the mechanics. You're taking the mechanics from one part of the game and changing it to fit what you want your character to do. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't believe in eugenics.
Which is literally just reskinning. So,
but
yeah.
Yeah. Poor.
I'm not gonna get hung up on that.
Poor coincidence. For the record, eugenics, not a thing. Not good. Bad thing. Now there's a record of me saying that on the internet forever. You're welcome. Eugenics are bad.
Exactly.
I don't think I've gotten to... I'm trying to think of like things that are like really headcanon-y for me that I haven't really gotten to dive into too much. And I think because we haven't had a lot of stuff on the water, I haven't gotten to play with that. Like, one of my favorite things about my world that I made is that there is no moon. And so it just has like planetary rings, and then there's no tides. But there are like magical effects on various different oceans. So like
that are affecting it.
Yeah. So like the one that is like goes by Bankar, that's just like waves. It's all from like the God Wars, like a bunch of stuff that the gods did that, like, because they were like interfering with this world that they made while they're fighting with each other, they permanently altered several things about this world. So like I haven't really gotten to get into like the geology of it either, which is just a nerd thing that I like. Like, I really like geology. And this world is veined with all kinds of like weird magic rocks.
See, when you run another miniseries, you just get into it.
There's maybe a slight bit that we've touched on with that. Like, they get mentioned.
That's with the ether shade and ether whatever.
Bright, yeah. So like, Alaxon's sword has a piece of ether shade in the hilt, and that's part of what makes it do what it does. And the island that his she's not like his god, but the like undead lady that he talked to. That island is veined with ether shade also. So it's...
Okay.
There's things happening. Let's just say that.
I like Cedar's question. Where in your sandbox do you want a sandbox?
I have so many places. Actually, the one shot, the beginner's one shot that I did in December with Asparagus and Liz and Cedar and yeah, like
Aaron.
That part, so because it was a low level one shot and it was supposed to be to like help new people learn how to play, we didn't go to the city that was to the west, but there's a city that is on that continent that floods for portions of the year, just like, and it's just part of their normal ecosystem, and they have built their city in a way that deals with that.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
I really want to play around with Titan's Watch and the islands that are kind of out east, where like it's volcanoes and stuff, and Titan's Watch is a city that is built in the arms of a long dead primordial titan.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of islands that sort of surround it, and I really want to like play around with that so bad. So I was really happy when you guys said like, let's go to the east where there's volcanoes, and I'm like, yes. Yeah. Now you have to mess around with this. That place, and then I have like I want to try to write a one shot where you guys go to Dinosaur Island, because you guys keep talking about it so much. Where you guys go visit the island where all the dinosaurs are. Because I think it would be funny.
It would be fun.
Also, the north and south poles of my world, because they're the only places that are covered in ice. So like those would be fun too, I think.
Yeah.
There's one place in the southern continent it's a desert, but it's a desert of black sand. So,
well, you know I like that.
It's called the Midnight Desert, and you cross it by riding on the backs of long-necked dinosaurs.
I want to go there.
So,
it's like Iceland.
Places like that are, yeah, like places like that are where I would love to play around in my world.
There's stuff in the real world that I want to put in my games too. Like, there's a spot in the Upper Peninsula called Bay Degree, where if you go to the beach and walk on the sand, it squeaks. The sand squeaks. It's like, I don't know how to explain it. The sand squeaks when you walk on it. Yeah. Like, that kind of stuff is just like... just weird little things.
I think
I did put a baobab forest in my world, because that was one of the coolest things I've ever seen in person.
Nice. I have a place that has a bunch of mangroves in it. That you guys haven't been anywhere near. It's in the north and you guys haven't been there. Like, you got really close to it when you went to Haven's Point, when you went to go visit Affy's vampire. You got really close to it, but you didn't go there.
Oh, dang.
Because you guys decided to go around it, but...
Dang.
Yeah. I was like, oh, they could go to Swamp Gulf, and that's basically just mangrove forests. It's the Florida of my world, but better.
Better than Florida. Come play in fantasy worlds where we're better than Florida. Freaking the
mangrove man. Yes, exactly.
I don't know. There's so much. I just want to I want to play in all the places. That's the problem. Like, I built this whole place. You know what also would be fun? I have a Magicratic island.
Okay.
That is,
So, like, kind of like Eberron?
kind of. But it's, so, you know the Familiar Problems one-shot that we did?
Mm-hmm.
Technically, all of your player
Owners.
like your owners were from
Yeah.
there. But we didn't really get into, like,
Except for
what it
Ram.
was like. Yeah, I don't know. I don't
We
consider
still haven't established what Ram was doing there, but
I don't consider that game fully canon. Although there may be a horse at the North Pole. We'll see. Just, you know, as a nod.
it just lives there now.
It just does. No, there's that would be an interesting place to explore too, because they're extremely isolationist and you cannot get in or out of their area without having like a specific like magic item token that is basically like a key.
So like the mists kind of.
But well, and like if you were to try to go on land, it would be almost impossible because of the area that you'd have to go through. So
Okay.
we love info dumps here. Why do you think we're sitting here talking about imaginary worlds we all made up, Asparagus? Come on.
Exactly.
We are info dumping on you right now. And it's not even a real place. When do I guest on Mistwalkers? Probably never. For one, y'all got too many players.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yep,
there's
yeah.
a lot of us. It's fun though.
But it's on topic.
Oh,
we
should
decided the
talk about
topic.
how do you come up with names for stuff?
Me?
Because you come up with wild names.
Oh. Okay. It's stupid.
It's not stupid. It's great. I remember the very first time you ever showed me one of your maps and I went, I feel like I need earplugs to look at that city.
So usually what I do, it's such a like ridiculous process. Usually I'll come up with a couple of words that describe the vibe of the place I want to name. And then I go to Google Translate and I type them into the translator and I start clicking through languages. And I find something that looks like it would sound interesting. And then I change a bunch of letters in it, and then that's the name. Or maybe throw like an apostrophe in there or something. But like a lot of so like I have a continent that's called Mir that's basically like based around the kind of based around the naming conventions of Welsh, but then I changed them all. It's like, yeah. Stuff like that. Or just things that I find would be satisfying to say with my mouth. If that... Like, if I'm going to use the Google Translator to come up with something, I need to then manipulate whatever comes out of there in a way that, first of all, it's not just a straight up translation, because I don't want it to be just a straight up translation into another language. But then also, it needs to seem like it would be a satisfying word to say.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, the mouthfeel of a name is important. Exactly.
It is. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's why, like, all the places that I have, like on the continent that you guys are on right now, they're like the northernmost continent or the northernmost country is Andarin, and that's where all the elves basically are from.
Yeah.
And
okay.
I have the country that you guys pretty much. So the country you guys are trying to save right now is Bohami. And that one, that name came about because I was watching Avatar: The Last Airbender, and at the time I was trying to come up with a name for the country, and I was watching the episode where they were in Omashu and they met King Boomy.
Yeah.
And like I didn't want to just use Boomy. So I was like, what's kind of like that, but also, and so like I played around with it a little bit, and it ended up just being Bohami. So,
absolutely. I'm trying to think, like, I mean, I do have some places that have normal names. Like, the town that I want to, if I do a campaign, the town that I want to start in is called Bellwind Springs. That's a normal name. And there's a whole bunch of springs. They all have weird names. there's, you know, Intake Point, Briny Point. Those are normal. Brightway Pass.
Yeah.
And
I've got places like Swords Fall.
And then I have an island called Fancan Trenkiti, and it has 2 Q's in it, and you have to decide, where do you think those are?
I know, right?
And also, it starts with a PF.
Yep.
So yeah, stuff like, I don't know.
I don't have anything quite that wild in mine. Like, I think, let's see, I have places like Oshax and Jisir, which is, it starts with an X.
Yeah.
And there's this city not that far from the one that we were talking about earlier, Yamani. There's one that it's Mabao. Things like that.
Different kinds of metal springs just to fuck people. You know, I could. I mean, I talked about this a little bit on Saturday too, but I have several places in the world where I figured out, like, I decided to name them after saints, but it doesn't say saint, like the name of them is not saint, it's something else. So like in Glade Tinnis it's Nim instead of saint, and in Mirthed it's Sin instead of saint. Like, yeah,
I remember you talking about that a little bit. So, yeah.
I have shameless self-promotion involved in like the one city with a saint's name that survived is called Nimsemni, which is the name of the first D&D character I ever made was Semni.
Okay. Nice.
Like, I was like, I'm gonna name this city after my first character.
First character that I ever made, her name was Callisto.
Nice. That's pretty good. What?
But it's spelled with a K, because I have a thing for K and A names, apparently.
I have a thing for Q's these days. It's weird, but can't help it. Yeah. Sometimes you just do it. I'm trying to think of what else. There's like, I don't know. I do have one.
Lesbian of the sea.
I have a forest called the Twidwood, which I just think sounds like a weird magical place where there's a bunch of gnomes. I also did a weird thing.
I have Swamp Gulf.
Oh, that's good. I like that. Swamp Gulf.
Yeah, there's a city in the middle of a swamp.
Sounds like a place in the holler. Like
Yeah, like when I made it, I pictured it very much like the swamp benders from Avatar,
Yes.
where they're just like, yeah, like that's
Heck
what I
yes.
picture when I picture Swamp Gulf. It's just those guys.
I have, I did a really weird thing with Mirthed where I made it like Great Britain, where it's like a country made up of smaller countries.
Okay.
So, like, most of the whole continent is one country made of 3 countries. So, but the 3 countries are, I don't call them nations, I call them ascendancies. So there's the Lofted Ascendancy, which is the northern one. There's the Ascendancy Betwixt, which is the central one. And then there's the Nether Ascendancy, which is the one at the bottom. And that's the name of them.
I love that.
It's weird. Sometimes you just gotta do weird stuff. It's fantasy. The name of multiple Qs. Oh. What? Konami? Wait. Oh, you think you had a stroke because... Here, I'll type it in the chat too, because I have it memorized now. Also, if you're, if you're Artemis and Affy, I guess, and you're in my pirate game at GaryCon, you'll get to be at this
2
place.
weeks from now, I will forget.
I mean, we're not going to talk about it that much, but let me make sure I spell it right.
Are you hungry? Is that what's
There
going
you
on
go.
here? You want your dinner?
That's if you if you didn't have a stroke from the name of this place before, try reading it.
I love that so much. It's terrible.
Yeah, this is the game I built the ship for. Fan Ken Trend Kitty. I was thinking about the town in Wales that is like super long. And like some of the names of places in like New Zealand and like the islands in Southeast Asia, and the Pacific Islands, also have really long names, and because they're not in languages that us Westerners are not as familiar with, like the pronunciation and the like letter combinations, they just look kind of impossible, and they're not necessarily like you could learn to pronounce anything if you wanted to. But
yeah.
I wanted to have a place in my world that had a name that looked impossible. That's what I wanted. I was like, well, it's a fantasy world. Like, you have bazillions of names that are ridiculous. And some of them are like from, you know, centuries of history or whatever in a language that like no one even remembers anymore. I really like the town that's basically called Hill 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 in England. But just with like
Languages?
4 different languages all kind of
Nice.
tacked together.
Well, we've been going for almost 2 hours. You wanna...
Yeah, I gotta get up and go to work in the morning. Okay.
Let this go, so... At least for now. We'll be back. And we don't have it this week, but we're back next week with VäkPäker's Guide. We're gonna be talking about GaryCon, our plans for GaryCon.
Yep.
Like what we're all gonna be doing. Group mom gonna group mom.
Yep.
You know, all of the things. And then the week after GaryCon, we'll be back talking about all of the crap that we actually did at GaryCon. in all of the trouble, and
It's
hopefully
gonna be
nobody
great.
get.
Yeah, hopefully everything goes well.
Yeah.
I'm going to a lot of seminars, so mine's not going to be as exciting. But
I actually am going to some seminars this year. I didn't go to any last year, but I'm going to 2 this year, and I'm excited to
I only
see
went
how
to
those
2
go.
last year, and I don't know if it's like partially because I'm running a couple games this year that I'm like, it seemed more relaxing to me to fill the free time with other things. Plus there was like a whole writers series. So I was like, what?
Yeah. I think you, me, and Affy are going to the ones about writing
Yeah.
our games into like
Oh,
modules.
Yeah.
I think, and something like that.
And there was
Maybe the novel writing one too. I think we're both going to that one.
I am going to a lot.
But
because
yeah. And we'll talk about that in our next session about like what it is we're all getting up to and stuff like that, and maybe we'll see if we can bully the boys or somebody into joining us for a little while and being like, yo, what are we gonna do at GaryCon? What kind of crap are we gonna get into? So, but it's gonna be good. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and it'll be good to see everybody face to face again. Some of you I haven't seen in a year, and I just want to hug everybody.
Yeah.
Maggie's gonna get the first hug though, because she's literally flying to the airport. That's 20 minutes from my house.
Which is, I'm so jealous.
Look at this. Look at this little face. Like this little tiny menace to society.
So cute.
She's so mad right now because
no, don't be mad.
She's just so mad. She's so mad.
I give you hugs.
Look at this little face.
Look at that sweetheart.
You big man.
She's so tired. Yeah. Sleepy baby.
It's hard work being a spoiled house cat.
Yep. 'Tis true.
Anyways.
We'll be back.
Let's get out of here.
All right, folks. Are we raiding anybody? It's kind of late. Yeah. I don't know. Do we have anyone to raid?
Hold on.
It's a Wednesday. I'm not usually on here at this time.
Let's see. Who do we got?
But our straw DM said the game's basically canceled for the foreseeable future, so I guess I have Wednesdays free now.
Just means more one-shots.
Yeah.
Duh.
Could mean anything.
Let's see. Who do we got?
Hi, Ryan.
Oh, let's go raid Even Footing Games because they're running right now. So let's go bother them.
Oh, sweet. All right, folks. We're going to raid Even Footing Games. Yeah. Have a good time. Catch y'all later.